Annie. I am the program manager at the Ohio chapter of the National Parkinson Foundation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do at the national level, and I'll talk a little bit about what we do at the local level as well here throughout the state of Ohio, some of the programs we have coming up, and then I'll take questions. I can answer just about anything around Parkinson's. I steer clear of answering about medications because I am a social worker, not a neurologist. Spending, all day, every day in Parkinson's, I'm pretty knowledgeable. So feel free to ask me whatever. If I don't know the answer, I'll be honest with you and tell you I can get back to you. We've got our mission up here. Our focus is really making life better for people with Parkinson's. We do that at the national level through expert care and research. At the local level, we've got a lot of really great support services and educational programs as well. So we really want to help the Parkinson's community actively enjoy their life with friends and family and everyone in their life, living to the fullest that you can with and despite, all of that, with your Parkinson's. The National Parkinson Foundation was established in the 50s, and since then we've funded over $200 million in research and support services. Our biggest research project is called the Parkinson's Outcome Project, and it is the largest and longest running study of Parkinson's in the world. It's looked at people from all over through our centers of excellence, which are just treatment centers for Parkinson's that are spread all across the country and throughout the world, and it follows people throughout the progression of the disease. And so we're gathering information on how medications are helpful and how the care partners play a role in how the disease progresses, and really trying to get the full picture of what is the best case scenario as far as care with Parkinson's disease. We're really invested in funding research that will help people with Parkinson's today, rather than just focusing on finding that cure, which will be fabulous to find when lightning strikes. But until then, we really want to make sure that care is up to par for those of you with Parkinson's. As Jackie mentioned, there are some new exciting things happening with the National Parkinson Foundation. We have officially merged with the Parkinson's Disease Foundation, and together we are the Parkinson's Foundation. Right now we're still operating as separate entities as we work on how we're going to come together and combine the different programs that we have and best support the Parkinson's community. So we will keep you up to date as far as changes and what's coming, but I wanted to give you a little update on some of the things out of the Parkinson's Disease Foundation that I am most excited about seeing that are different from anything that we're doing at the National Parkinson Foundation. So hopefully these will continue. It's out of my hands. So the first program that jumped out at me, it's called PD Self, and it's Self-Efficacy Learning Forum. And it's a training for people with Parkinson's to teach newly diagnosed people with Parkinson's the resources to cope and how to take an active role in managing Parkinson's. I think it's classes kind of similar to what this is, but led by people with Parkinson's, so that you're out in the community really raising awareness of how you can take control of the disease and feel good despite your Parkinson's. The Women's in PD initiative is a really cool project. I see a lot of women in this class, and historically, we haven't seen as many women with this disease, but as of lately, we're seeing a lot more. We don't know why, but we know that that's the truth. And so this initiative is really just working to improve the health and well-being of women, specifically living with Parkinson's disease, and it's led by women with Parkinson's disease. So I'm hoping that we can get that up and running here in Ohio at some point, that we can have one of the conferences that they've done, but we will just have to see. I will do my best to lobby for that, because I know we've got some great women with Parkinson's right here in Columbus who are really active in a lot of the programs that we do here. The PDF Research Advocates is a really cool program where people with Parkinson's and their care partners are trained by PDF to collaborate with research teams and provide input on what's being studied, how it's being studied. It's sort of that next step up from just participating in clinical trials, which is very important. It really gets the Parkinson's community involved with the research efforts. So I'm still learning about what that looks like, but it sounds really, really helpful and really interesting. And then, of course, the expanded research. So a lot of the research being done out of PDF is similar and focuses on quality care for Parkinson's patients. but they also have some research in there that is looking for the cure, which is something we had not focused on at all. So our research will include all of that moving forward, which is very exciting because both sides of it are so important. As you all know, Parkinson's has a pretty big impact on the individual, but thinking about the big picture, about 1 million Americans have Parkinson's disease, and about 60,000 are diagnosed in the United States every year. As you know, there is no cure for Parkinson's, but there are a lot of different treatments available. I know that's something you guys are learning about throughout this class. And Parkinson's affects both men and women. Most people are diagnosed after 60, but young onset before 60 also happens as well. That's about 15% of cases. We really are focusing on the Parkinson's Outcome Project on the most effective treatments, the benefits from those therapies, who the best candidates are for those treatments. So whether you have this set of Parkinson's symptoms versus another set, if you're primarily having issues with the tremor versus issues with balance, all of that, since we know Parkinson's looks different person to person. It's a snowflake disease where two people who were diagnosed on the same day by the same doctor may look totally different. We want to look at the benefits of various exercise programs. We know that exercise does slow that progression, but we're still learning what elements are the most beneficial, how to really implement exercise in a way that's going to slow that progression, not just keep you active. And I know that that's something Delay the Disease does a really good job of. And we're also, like I said, looking at the impact on caregivers and also the impact of caregivers on the progression of the disease. In addition to the work that we do at our Centers of Excellence through the Parkinson's Outcome Project, we also fund clinical research that's being done outside of the National Parkinson Foundation. The care that you get has such a huge impact on how your Parkinson's progresses, on how your every day-to-day looks. We always like to talk when we're in front of a room full of Parkinson's patients about the importance of your care team. The best case scenario, and for those of you who are here today, in this great city, Columbus, where we have some of the best centers in the state, have really benefited because we have some really great movement disorder specialists here. If you can get access to a movement disorder specialist, that's the best case scenario. It's a neurologist who specializes in Parkinson's and other movement disorders. I know Dr. Hinkle usually comes and presents. I don't know if he's done that yet, but he's one of the movement disorder specialists, and there are a few more here at OhioHealth. There are also some through Ohio State. They all are fabulous. Find one who fits your personality and your needs and who feels right. That's really what it comes down to, because that is the top level of care that you can get. If for whatever reason you're not able to see a movement disorder specialist, the next best thing is a general neurologist. They know a lot about Parkinson's, some know more than others, but if you can't get into that specialist regularly or ever, a neurologist is really what we recommend. And then in addition to that Parkinson's doctor that you're seeing, there are also a lot of people that may come into your healthcare team at some point during your journey with Parkinson's. So you'll see nurses, and a lot of times you'll see nurse practitioners who work very closely with the movement disorder specialists or the neurologist. You may end up getting a referral out to see a physical therapist if you're having challenges with movement, referral out to see an occupational therapist if you are needing some more help with some of those tools and tricks that you can do in your home to stay safe. You may end up seeing a speech-language pathologist as the Parkinson's hits your throat and your ability to speak and swallow. You usually see that a little further on in the disease, but it is very important if you're having those symptoms to see a speech pathologist as soon as you can, because it's important to train those muscles just like it's important to train all of your muscles. Social worker, whether it's someone through an organization like the National Parkinson Foundation or someone who's in a hospital or working with your neurologist. We can do a lot to help you plan ahead and really look at the big picture, not just the clinical side of Parkinson's. A psychiatrist, as you hopefully know, Parkinson's affects a lot more than just the movement side. There are a lot of mental health changes that can happen. Depression and anxiety are very common as symptoms of Parkinson's, and so if you start seeing those, seeing a psychiatrist can be very helpful, especially if you see one who is knowledgeable in Parkinson's, and they can really help you figure out how to treat that as a symptom of Parkinson's. And then of course a pharmacist as you're managing all those wonderful medications you're on so that you can function at your highest level. As I mentioned, our centers of excellence, I always hesitate to talk too much about them because we don't have one here in Ohio right now. There are a lot of really specific criteria that have to be met, and the centers have to apply to be within this program. We've got fabulous centers here that are not technically centers of excellence. These are really great programs throughout the country that are very dedicated to Parkinson's care. How many of you have seen this kit? How many of you have one? Yeah, I'm glad some of you do. This is our Aware and Care kit. And this was created after a national study found that 3 out of 4 Parkinson's patients in the hospital don't get their medication on time. And in the majority of cases, it leads to critical complications that could have been avoided. As your Parkinson's progresses, the importance of the medication timing gets more and more important. For some people, 10 minutes this way or that way can make the difference. For some people, an hour this way or that way is not that big a deal. But for a lot of people, it makes a huge impact. And so this is sort of just a toolkit to help those of you with Parkinson's and those of you with a loved one with Parkinson's, when you're in the hospital, whether it's a planned trip or an emergency visit, get the care that you need so that you don't leave in worse shape than when you got there. So you can see some of the stuff that's in here up there. There's a medical alert bracelet. There's this magnet that says I need my Parkinson's medication on time every time. Here's where you can find some more information. The one that I always like to highlight is this. So it's a wallet card, but in addition to, saying I have Parkinson's disease, which can make me move slowly and have difficulty standing or speaking, I'm not intoxicated, please call my family or physician for help. It also lists medications that should never be given to a Parkinson's patient. Some of those are the go-to medications in the emergency room, and I don't know them off the top of my head, so I know that you guys probably don't either. And then it lists safe medications to use as an alternative. So this is a really important piece for all of you to have. And the kit itself is very helpful, again, whether it's a planned trip or an emergency visit. So we want to get one of these into all of your hands, and we're happy to do so. All of our resources are always free of charge. We'll ship it to you, we'll bring it to you, we'll do whatever we can to get it into your hands because it's not doing us any good sitting in storage. In addition to that emphasis on better care, we really want you to be living your best lives, and that means having all of the information that you need about your disease so that you can manage it in the best way possible. So we've got really great online resources so that from the comfort of your home, you can find that information that you need. Our national website is parkinson.org, and when I tell you that it is a plethora of information, I mean it. We've got every symptom, everything you could deal with Parkinson's. There's information up there so that you know what you can expect, how you can manage it, all of that. And in addition to the website, we've got a lot of that content as a smartphone app so you can bring it with you wherever you are. If you're educating the community about what you're dealing with, or even your family, having it right there at your fingertips can be really helpful. We also have a national helpline. It's staffed by nurses and social workers, and it's a great place to call if you have general Parkinson's questions, if you've got questions about medications, if you've got questions about whether something you're experiencing is a symptom of the disease or if it may be not connected to Parkinson's. Although I'll tell you, more often than not, if you're not sure if it's connected to Parkinson's, it probably is. I'm always surprised. Every few months I learn something new where I say, oh really, that can happen with Parkinson's? And I've been doing this for almost 2 years. But it's a really great resource. That phone number is 1-800-4PD-INFO. But you can find that on the website as well. We also have some really great resources that we give out. Up here is our national newsletter that goes out quarterly. But we also, here in Ohio, have a monthly newsletter that goes out. We can send that to you as a paper copy in the mail. We can send it via email, whatever you prefer. But the local one really looks at what's happening in the Parkinson's world as far as research, but also what's happening here in Ohio, here in Columbus, so that you are connected to the programs that we're doing, the exciting things happening at these great centers that we've got here in Ohio, all of that. And then the rest of these are books that we give out free of charge. I brought some of the sort of intro book with me. This is What You and Your Family Should Know. And it really is an intro to Parkinson's. So whether you're new to the disease, or if you've got family or friends, whatever loved ones who want to learn a little bit more about what you're dealing with, what it looks like, what may be coming down the line for you, this is a great resource, and we're happy to provide that. In addition to that intro, as you can see, we've got a lot. So we've got some that look at the medications. We've got one that looks at those mental health changes with Parkinson's that can happen. Another on speech and swallowing. We've got fitness and nutrition. On the deep brain stimulation surgery, we have a caregiver workbook that's a really great resource for whoever that primary loved one is that's helping you with your care, if you've got one. And then our newest is on psychosis, which is not all that common with Parkinson's. It's about 20% of Parkinson's patients who experience that. But once you've had the disease for over 20 years, that number jumps up to 70%. It's good to know what to look for, because there are ways to treat it if it becomes relevant for you. If you want that whole book set, let us know. We'll send it out to you. If you want to take it as it comes and get one here and there as it becomes relevant, that works too. We really just want you to have the information you need as you need it. A little about our Ohio chapter. There are 4 of us here in the state, 3 of us in Columbus, and one who's up in Cleveland. We've got Jennifer, who's that first O. She's our events and volunteer coordinator, so she plans our fundraisers and coordinates anytime someone wants to come in and help us do the things we do. That H is Dan, who's our executive director. He has been working with this organization for over a decade, and he is so committed to the Parkinson's community. He's a really great resource to have. And then there's me, of course, and then the final O is our moving day coordinator up in Cleveland. I'll take a look at these and see if I forgot anything. We try and do a lot of different things here for the state of Ohio, because we do have 30 to 50,000 estimated people with Parkinson's in the state. So we really want to have as many resources and programs to help you live the best life you can with Parkinson's here in Ohio. So we've got support groups scattered all over the state, a lot of them here in Columbus. You almost don't even have to leave, your little neighborhood to get to one of those, depending on the timing, of course. We fund voice and exercise classes throughout the state. This year we put $50,000 back into the community to make sure that classes can continue and new classes can start in new places where it's been lacking. It's really important that those resources are available, and we want to do what we can to make that happen. As I mentioned before, that monthly newsletter, that goes out to over 3,000 people, and we really want to see that keep growing, because 3,000 versus the 30 to 50,000, we've got a lot of work to do. The Parkinson's Care Line is an ongoing support service delivered by myself, and I've got social work interns who work on that as well. It really is, it's a telephone service so that we can reach further and further out into the state from our little Columbus, Ohio office, to make sure that people know how to plan ahead, that they can handle the little crisis moments that pop up, and have the support they need to adjust as things settle down. We have designed new diagnosis packets that we're trying to get into the hands of people at the time of diagnosis by their doctors. So that's one of the really exciting things we've pushed through this year. We have a program called Let's Talk PD, where we connect newly diagnosed Parkinson's folks with people who've had Parkinson's for a little bit longer, who can talk about getting through that initial shock phase, taking control of your diagnosis, and just the little tips and tricks that helped them. We have education programs around the state that happen throughout the year. We've got 7 happening this spring, which is very exciting, and quite a few of those are here in Central Ohio. We usually have our symposia twice a year. This year we're skipping the spring to throw our support towards what is coming down the pipeline. There are some exciting things happening this spring. I'll just leave it at that. And then we've got our Moving Day, which is our big walk for Parkinson's. It's our big fundraiser that we do. It is held at Crew Stadium. I'll talk some more about it, but it really is a community event, an awareness-raising event, in addition to being a fundraiser. And we would love to have you come out and join us for that, whether you are able to fundraise or not. I think most of you ended up with one of these postcards that talks about the first program. If not, make sure you grab one on your way out. We've got Parkinson's 101, which is sort of the intro to Parkinson's class. It's happening in Grove City on February 13th. We've got a Lewy body and Parkinson's dementia program happening up in Delaware, so not too far, depending on where in Columbus you live. And then we've got a Parkinson's and mental health presentation over in Newark in April. Bowling fundraiser coming up. If any of you are bowlers and want to come out and support what we do, that's happening in March, on March 11th. Every year we do our Parkinson's Car Show. This is last year's flyer. We don't have the new flyer for it yet. If you like cars, come out and join us. It's a really fun event. We do that over at Quaker Steak and Lube in Polaris, and that's on August 26th this year. And then Moving Day. It's really meant to be an inspiring event. It's amazing to be in one space with 1,000 people who care about what you're going through. You know, we'll have different demonstrations of different types of exercise that you can try out, see what you like, in addition to the great things that you've got here through Delay the Disease. There are a lot of different things you can try as well in the community. And then we have the walk as well. We walk around the stadium. It's a really cool event. And as of today, we finally have our date. So that will be September 24th. It's a Sunday. And it is not after a big Ohio State game. Woohoo! If you're interested in supporting us in a different way, we also have the opportunity to sort of do a create your own fundraiser program. We call it Team Hope. You take the lead and we assist and support and help spread the word for you. This is my last slide, and then I'll open it up to questions from all of you. But this shows you some of the ways to get connected with us at the national level and at the local level. We've got, you know, both websites listed up there, both phone numbers, both email addresses, and then the Ask the Doc forum, which is out of national. If you ever have a question that you think a neurologist should answer but don't have access to your neurologist for whatever reason, that's a really great resource online. And we're on all the different versions of social media, so pick your poison and make sure you get connected. Do you have any questions? Oh, the question was if I had heard about stem cell research. So I know that it's not something that NPF is currently investing dollars in. I'm not sure about the Parkinson's Disease Foundation, to be honest with you, but there have been some advances. There's a lot of potential there, but I don't think there's been anything really truly revolutionary that's been found so far. I know within the last couple months, was reading something about something that was potentially exciting, but it's still in the very early phases. Yeah, it's one of those that is it's a hot button issue for a lot of people, but very exciting if they're able to find something helpful with Parkinson's for sure. So we know that Parkinson's is a little more common in more rural areas because there are environmental factors, things with chemicals, pesticides, those types of things. But as far as regions, I'm not sure whether, you know, if there's a state that has the most incidents. We don't have a good way to track exactly how many Parkinson's patients are where. There's no national registry like you have for cancer, so that you can really see where the hot spots are. The numbers we use are really estimates. And there was a push at one point to get a registry here in Ohio. But it's complicated with HIPAA, and you want people's privacy protected, but you want to get as much information you can so that we learn why it's happening. I think that has kind of stalled out, unfortunately, but there have been pushes at the national level a few times to try and get a national registry so we have better information to answer those types of questions. We've got great reports on the research that we're doing out of our national office, but I don't know that you're going to find information on research outside of NPF on our website. if you're looking to get involved with clinical trials, the best way to do so, to be completely honest, is through Michael J. Fox Fox Trial Finder. And that's something in this calendar year that we're going to work on focusing better as far as our local newsletter and all of that, helping people know what's happening here in Ohio, how they can get involved, what that would look like. Because we want you all to know how to get involved with that if you're interested.